This is questionable. One could argue that it's just predicting things that it already saw in this file. That's actually not an illogical suggestion. It doesn't actually work. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, I love a useful application of artificial intelligence because honestly, what's up, y'all? It's Fuego. Today we're going to be talking about GitHub Copilot. I'm sure many of you have already heard of it, but GitHub Copilot is an AI pair programmer that suggests line completions while you write code. It works in VS Code, Neovim, and JetBrains, and it's currently in a technical preview. Today I'm going to be using GitHub Copilot to write some Python code and see how well it works suggesting Python line completions. Copilot works pretty well with a couple of specific languages. I'm guessing that this is because the majority of those languages compromise a lot of the code on GitHub. So before you use it, you obviously have to install it. The installation instructions are pretty simple if you have Neovim on the command line. If you're not familiar with Neovim, Neovim is a fork of Vim, which is the VI improved editor on the command line. And Neovim has a lot of features that help make programming on the command line a lot faster. So I've actually already installed GitHub Copilot on my Neovim installation. I'll show kind of the process of installation here. If you follow the instructions, it's pretty straightforward. And so the example we're going to be working on today is actually this MBA analytics app I wrote a while back. One of my side projects had to do with pose analysis. The initial direction was analyzing NBA player injuries. If you check out the app, it basically looks at the frequency of injuries across a couple of years. It actually analyzes the Celtics team data specifically for each individual player. This is programmed in Python using Django, and all the data analysis code is using NumPy and Pandas in Python. And because NumPy and Pandas are pretty popular libraries, I'm thinking Copilot might actually do pretty well with this. So let's just get into it. So basically I've copied the Celtics data file as a backup so I can see what the original code was. So what I'm going to do is open up the original file and delete all the functionality that was provided by what I already wrote. All the data I use for this analysis are scraped from the online NBA data sources, and I've actually deleted code for the count injuries function and the load player info function. I'm going to try to recreate those with Copilot. So we'll start with the load player info function. What this function does, it actually loads all the injuries related to a specific player, going through our pandas data frame, doing some filtering, and returning some unique info about an individual player. So I'm just going to actually start writing out the line that I've already done and see what it auto completes. Basically, this line that I've already written is correct. It actually predicted exactly this line. This is questionable. Okay, so it's not just a full copy of it. It's very interesting that at least this first half of this line was correctly reproduced. So let's just keep going. Teams. Oh, wait. What was it? You know, that's actually not an illogical suggestion. What I actually want to do is get a list of all the teams that this player has been on. Let's do that. Okay. It's interesting because the way that it's suggesting me doing things suggests a very standardized format of this injuries file. But because I know the actual structure of it, it's going to differ significantly from what I actually wanted to do. So let's now see, oh, that's interesting. Team equals team 0. That's not what I want. So it's suggesting that I get the first team and maybe apply it to the player info, but yeah. So what we're actually gonna do is get the notes and see if it's going to, oh, that's crazy. Okay, so this is amazing. It actually used the history of the code that I was writing to make a smart suggestion for the next line. It saw the way that I was retrieving the team's data from this list and did the same exact thing for the notes, which is the exact same thing that I did. So I'm just going to autocomplete that. Yay! This is so crazy, honestly. I think this is a common coding pattern. If something's not in an array, then we add the item to the array. It's honestly just very refreshing that it suggested the correct things to return. That's crazy. It's saying return the 3 things that I would want, but I actually want to load the word cloud. When you're programming, oftentimes you have to go back and look at documentation to understand function signature and code structure of the things that you're writing. I'm honestly very impressed. Let's do one more function, this count injuries function. That's very interesting. I'm really wondering if it's looking at the code that I'm writing right now. This is suggesting a huge function block. And it's funny because it's not significantly different. I don't know. I'm just gonna accept it. Let me see. I think that this might fail. My code was clearly not optimized. Like these 2 variables were never used. We're gonna run my Django server and see what happens. So it compiled with no errors. It doesn't actually work. I think that's okay. The function block suggested by them was not functional. What I was actually trying to do was filter the injuries by the date. This is what happens when you try to rewrite code that you wrote and don't remember what it was supposed to be. This is supposed to be a dictionary for the year. Dope. So it suggested the correct first line. Dope. This is getting exciting. So at this point, I felt a bit more comfortable using Copilot, and so I just started to go with the flow as I programmed more. I just had to give it a chance to correctly suggest the right function block. The original function block was really just trying to count the injuries, like the total number of injuries for a specific thing, but this new version is actually creating a dictionary of the injuries over the year. Number one, I'll just say this code was on GitHub for like a while, and so if it was used to train GitHub Copilot, one could argue that it's just predicting things that it already saw in this file. However, it was suggesting things and function signatures that are really related to the pandas library and the way that pandas code is written. So honestly, for Python specifically, I think GitHub Copilot is a pretty awesome tool. It's definitely suggesting some very common function patterns, and honestly, it was pretty useful in rewriting this code. So I'm just gonna double check real quick that it actually compiles. So when I went to compile it, it didn't actually work. That's because if you didn't catch it earlier, the Copilot suggestion didn't index the year from the record. And that's okay, I just need to make a quick fix. Copilot is making some good suggestions for line completions, but at the end of the day, you're still the main programmer. And now it works as expected. I love a useful application of artificial intelligence, because honestly, there are some useless applications out there. That's another story. That's it for this video, y'all. If you enjoyed this video, as always, give it a like. And if you're not subscribed to my channel and you'd like to subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.